Welcome to the Thought Brothers. I'm Gary Johnson, aka Mr. Producer. We got the House of York in the house. You'll learn more about the House of York and what they're doing because you don't want to miss what they're doing because they're making a difference. And to start off, to get them introduced and acclimated, we're going to throw it over to the financial manager who's never broke, got money always falling out of his pocket. Go ahead, Carlos. Talk to us.
Hey, look, I just want to say, Ihsaan and Ellisa, thank you for joining us this evening. Really, to see entrepreneurs do their thing and represent the Black community is dear to my heart. I'm reading information about the new film company, House of York Productions, opens its doors. Can you just break down who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
Yes.
All right.
First of all, what we do is we occupy the media space, but it's more than just media because we look at ourselves as soulmates. We look at ourselves as a team, a spiritual team, husband and wife, mother and father, and business partners. We believe right now we're in the midst of a great transformation. We're transformative time in society, and it's going to be ushered in by new leaders, or let me start that over. We believe that we're in a transformative time in society, and that transformative time is going to be ushered in by new leaders and by new leadership. So we also understand that most of the way humans process information is through storytelling. And through storytelling, that's media, that's film, every space, whether it's politics, whether it's branding, whether it's commercials, uses film and media to push their agenda. So we understand that if we can control the media, and we can dictate the way stories are told, then we can usher in a change of hope, inspiration, and positivity. So that's in a nutshell who we are and what we're trying to do.
Excellent. And when you think about this, generational change, okay, we're looking at a situation where when I went to a high school recently that I support and spoke about about books, they said, well, we learn online now.
Mhm.
So the communication of a hardback and a softback are still there, but filmmaking, streaming, video production is what kids and what the younger generation really relate to because all of them have phones in their hand. All of them can push a button to pull the information or stream at a moment's notice. And we have to keep up with technology to continue to tell our story. My father once told me that communication has not changed. You can see an old photograph of the 4 or 5 guys sitting at a train station all reading a newspaper. And today you'll see plenty of photographs of 4 or 5 kids all standing beside or sitting beside each other on their cell phones. They're still getting the same story, but it's a matter of how they get it. So I want to commend you guys for taking the lead on the way we communicate our stories and how we can make a difference to keep tradition going on and knowledge going on about history. So thank you very much. With that being said, again, maybe about your background. Where are you guys from?
Go ahead.
Well, we're from Cleveland, Ohio, actually. And now we've been in North Carolina for over 20 years. So we've spent probably equal amounts of time up north and now down south. So yes, we're from Cleveland originally.
Our film production company, most of the work we do is based out of New York City. We had an opportunity from the Showtime network to pitch a screenplay that we had worked on. And I felt that it was probably, since a network like Showtime, is so numb to seeing pitches and screenplays, I thought that the best way to kind of circumvent that was to do some sort of documentary or piece that not only sold the film, but it sold our story. We had met at such a young age and went through, a lot of, different circumstances like the death of our daughter, going out of or trying to get out of a place like Cleveland, Ohio. We went through a lot of what my mentor would call deep waters to get to the position we were at. So I felt like if we could tell that story, then the screenplay would just be an extension of that, because what people would be looking at is a heartfelt story about two a couple who had a dream, who were envisioning something big and went through or overcame obstacles to actually obtain that. So when we did the documentary and we dropped it off, the first place we did was New York City, and it just kind of had a snowball effect to get us to this point where we're at right here.
Well, fantastic. I can't say too much about Cleveland. I don't really have any family or friends that I know of in Cleveland. Take it back. One person who I've met online through an association I'm part of does live in Cleveland. He's still upset about the Cleveland Browns, but that's
yeah, we all are. That's the universal.
But he's happy about the Cleveland Cavaliers this year, so we'll see how that goes.
Right.
New York and North Carolina is very near and dear to my heart. My wife's originally from New York City, and she has first cousins in North Carolina. So,
what part of North Carolina, if you don't mind?
Durham.
Oh man, we're right around the corner from Durham.
Okay, I'll be seeing you at the crab feast or cookout this summer. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, look, thank you for giving us the breakdown, the introduction. I got to turn it over to the agitator, the researcher, Mr. Bill Spivey. Come on, what you got, Mr. Spivey? What's going down?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I am not agitating tonight. Ellisa and Ihsaan, I just want to say it is a pleasure to meet the two of you all. This afternoon, they call me the researcher. So this afternoon, I figured I would do a quick deep dive into the House of York documentary. And I ended up sitting at my computer for over an hour because I couldn't stop watching. And I have to say, man, your story is just amazing. From the time you were in high school and you heard a voice in the background telling you to turn around. And when you turned around, you saw Ellisa. And from there, you all had a child and left Cleveland and went to New York. No, you went to Chicago.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but it was just amazing listening to your story. Not only do you seem like you're kind of a prodigy, but also your brother, Rakeem, with what you all did when you left Cleveland and went to Chicago and you started the production company and doing the videos and all. And but it just seems like in looking at the documentary that your life has been kind of destined. I mean, that's the way that I looked at it. I mean, I know, unfortunately, you lost your daughter, Elena, in 2000. She was born with a hole in her heart. And with the death of her, you all left and relocated to North Carolina. But the thing that was so amazing was, they always talk about, and I've heard this many times, that when somebody passes, that somebody comes to take you away on the trip. And it was amazing looking at the documentary when Ellisa said she woke up in the middle of the night and she saw her father in the doorway. And the next morning, he apparently had taken her daughter. It was really kind of moving. And then when you all made the trip overseas, and I can't remember the lady's name, Deborah, that you all met with and had that experience in the car pulling up and seeing her father again. It just seems like, your whole life was just destined and planned. But the thing that you talked about with Carlos, making the documentary, there's a backstory to that you had in the documentary, where you all talked about you decided to do a documentary because you all had been doing a song and dance for a while, trying to get Morgan Freeman, because you needed a name person in order to make the murder roulette. And
you're good, man. You're good. Gee, we need you on our team. This is a good recap right here.
I told you, man. He's the researcher. He's the researcher.
He got the names, the dates, the cities.
Oh yeah, you were in Cleveland in 1980 during the rough time.
This is good stuff, man. Good stuff.
But it was really amazing looking at your documentary. And did you ever? I did a little bit more research, and there's an animated version of Murder Roulette, and I noticed you're in it, and also the animated person looks like Morgan Freeman.
Right.
So what happened with that?
Yeah, when we were pitching it, you might want to tell the story about Bill Luckett, so I'm not hogging the
Yeah.
conversation. Go ahead, you can start off with the story about Bill Luckett.
Well, we
Bill
actually,
Luckett was Morgan Freeman's friend that owned
yeah,
a bar with him.
Mm-hmm.
best
Because he
friend.
tried to go through his agent. I think his name was oh, what was his name? The agent you tried to go through, and he tore up the manuscript. Yeah.
He's good at this.
Yeah, no, we need to have you on our team to be able to pitch our documentary to people. This is good stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, when we were trying to get to Morgan Freeman, I'm gonna let her pick up
Yeah.
this story, but we had submitted it straight to his agent, and like I said in the documentary, he threw it in the garbage can without even opening it.
Mhm.
Of course, in a situation like this, it's gonna be the woman who's gonna always come up with the game plan B, while the man's gonna be the one who want to give up on it. So
Yeah.
she's the one that came up with the idea, and you can go from there, Lisa.
So I figured we would take another course and kind of go around the back door. And that was through Morgan's best friend and partner, Blues Club partner, Bill Luckett.
Mhm.
So I had gotten in contact with Nina. Well, I don't know if I should say names.
Yeah, yeah.
Nina Parikh with the film office, actually,
Yeah.
Clarksdale, Mississippi, and got in contact with her. And she made an introduction to Bill. And that introduced our, 12-hour journey
Yeah.
driving down to Mississippi to meet with Bill at the Blues Club.
And the thing is that I think in the space of business, one of the things we learned, because you watched the documentary, so you know that we took the detour to start building our real estate
Right.
business, that we were investing in real estate. But you start to learn that in business, it really starts to boil down to connections and who you know. And when I say connection, I'm not just talking about connecting with people, but also that personal spirit to spirit connection. So when she introduced herself to Bill Luckett, who was Morgan Freeman's business partner, saw something not just in our project, but in us. And he had told me, he said, I have about, I want to say it's probably been weekly that somebody comes to pitch something to me to try and get to Morgan. I have to turn so many people down. But there was something, that he saw in our project and what we were trying to do, where he kind of mentored us and got us to Morgan. And again, you brought up, like it was almost destined. We obviously, you watched the document, we really believe in that. And we believe that when you're destined to do something, you have a destiny, then nothing's going to stop it. There's not going to be any obstacle or any door that's going to close that you're not going to be able to open, because it is destiny. It's fated to happen.
Yeah, it was interesting. Another thing that surprised me was a guy in North Carolina after you all left Chicago and went to North Carolina down to Winston-Salem. The guy, I think his name was Bill Ross, and he was the guy with the real estate. And
Bob Robbins, yeah.
yeah, and helped you all to really become very successful as investors. That was surprising because, as we all know, North Carolina is a red state and the home of the Klan. So I was very shocked that he took you all under his wing and and took care of you all. One last thing I'll say, you said something in the also along with Elena's father coming to take Elena away. I mean, you said something that kind of stood out to me. You said everybody's born with DNA, but along with DNA is a purpose. And once you see that purpose and recognize it, that's when it will take off. And I found that to be quite profound.
What I was taught was that, and I said this in a documentary, I'm recapitulating now, but that, everyone's born in their DNA. They have, how tall they're going to be, the color of their eyes, color of their hair. But what people don't realize is that in their DNA, they also have their purpose. And once that is activated, or once you find out, when you see something, you're calling or feel something, it activates that in your DNA and you just know. And again, that goes back to what you brought up about being destined to do something. I look at it like that. You know what you're supposed to do once you see it, once it's activated in you, it's, destiny. So I'm glad you picked up on that, because that was one of the more, I was trying to set the seeds for exactly that, that there is destiny, there's something larger in play when you start to talk about the world of spirit.
the reason I said something about I think you were destined because in looking at the documentary, all the different people that came into your life, uh, it seemed like each one of them that came in that you met for a purpose. I think your most rewarding one was John Ray, who was your mentor. And it seemed like you went back to him quite a bit. And he's the one that kept you kind of on the straight and narrow.
You know what's funny that you mentioned him? Because when you first came on, I was going to say you remind me. I didn't know you watched the documentary. I was going to say you remind me of somebody very special in my life because your spirit is very similar to John Ray. I swear to God, I was going to say that. So it's funny that you picked that up because I feel a lot of similarities in your his spirit.
Thanks. Thank you.
So you know that coming from me, that's a big compliment because wow, what he's, the relation he had in my
And who
life.
he's
Yeah,
been.
exactly.
CJ, is all yours, buddy.
Cool. Yeah, this has been great so far. I wanted to piggyback off of a path that Carlos kind of started down earlier with his line of questioning, and I really wanted to get your thoughts on how the emerging and new technology is really going to affect filmmaking. Because me as a musician, the entire music industry has changed in the last decade with streaming and the accessibility, and it's happening for filmmaking as well. There are AI writing scripts now. They're replacing whole actors with digital replacements. I saw things with the writer's strike. There's 4K cameras in people's hands and phones now with iPhones and giving different people different abilities to be filmmakers that otherwise wouldn't be, that would be priced out of it now that the technology is more accessible. The things like TikTok, where people can make short form content that rivals what used to be, traditional filmmaking. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on these new emerging technologies and how it's going to affect your field.
First of all, I just want to say I'm a little bit intimidated answering that question because before we got on, Gary said that you were the man of the hour, so it's like, that you're the one that's always right, so I want to make sure that I answer this and that you don't break me down in any way that's, but hold on, man, okay, wait. But Elisa has always said, and I guess the best way to sum it up, and maybe you should say instead of me paraphrasing you, is that, the cream of the crop in terms of talent is always going to rise to the top. It just is in anything, any field, in any endeavor. It's always going to be the cream of the crop that rises to the top. So, just in a nutshell, yeah, we do have those things that we have to maybe compete against, maybe use to our advantage. But I don't see it as anything negative because I am of the firm belief, like what she said, that if you have a talent, there's nothing that can stop it. Again, we talk about destiny. There's nothing that can stop it. It's not artificial intelligence, nothing but something within yourself. And I don't know if you want to maybe expand more on that, because you're the one
I
that said
feel
it.
like we look at the new technology as kind of an opportunity to be able to show our work and reach more people. Like we were talking about earlier, educating children and them not really being into reading anymore. And so a lot of our platform is to educate through film and media. So all these new platforms and opportunities can show more people, more all ages, really what we do and what we teach.
The House of York, and you'll understand this from the documentary. We're very, very family oriented. We have 7 children. So the House of York, begins with us, but there's a little football team that's behind us that's going to take over the reins once we're not able to do it.
It really is a family affair too. Like all of our children are involved in filmmaking and creative arts.
And we talked about the DNA. They have it in their
They
DNA.
all
Yes. So they can pick it. They've picked it up very easy. But and going to what she said, we realized that, our purpose and part of our mission is to use these platforms to teach and inspire. And we're starting off with our children first, and if we can set an example with them, then, we go on and to wider audiences and to, a larger scale of people, but starting first with our family and with our children.
Yeah, it was interesting in the documentary. I saw you with your son, and you were teaching him how to film and do certain things.
Very good stuff. Very good stuff. Man, I'm impressed. He told us about you. He did say that you were the researcher, but man, you're good. Gary told us about you before we got on, but yeah, you're very good. and very impressive on the names and all that.
I left off a few.
Go ahead, CJ.
I didn't have too much more. The last question I kind of had was just your opinions on streaming versus traditional theaters and things like that. The movie theaters seem to be struggling a bit just in terms of, as an industry, in terms of post-COVID, trying to fill the seats, the pricing, concessions. They have some issues going on. And with the rise of streaming, I've seen a lot of more traditional filmmakers not really love the new streaming model that happens for movies, and for taking the filmmaking experience out of it and plopping it on HBO Max or Disney Plus or something like that. So I just wanted your thoughts on the new streaming model and how that is affecting just filmmaking in general.
Do you have anything?
I mean, really, we have, you saw the documentary, Bill, so you probably understand,
Yeah.
but born of our film production company is an idea that was a larger idea to create a streaming service for works made by mainly the unheard, unseen people who've not been able to take a part in the larger film community as of even up to now.
Or
So,
I mean, or who have stories that they haven't had the platform
yeah.
or maybe the financial opportunity to
Mhm.
be told. There are a lot of stories out there that we feel we have an obligation and duty to help to give them a platform, and that's what Cinema or the streaming platform is about. But go ahead, I
Yeah.
interrupt you. I just wanted to make that point.
So that, like, to your point, that I feel like the streaming services reach way more people, because especially in a post-COVID time, people don't always want to be exposed and be out, even elderly. And so I think it's a really good time to go into the streaming field where you can reach so many people in a way that's simple and easy. And then, like I said, a lot of our work is to teach and inspire. So it's a lot of what lately, it's a lot of what you haven't seen.
They say that the greatest masters throughout history are the ones who can quickly adapt to the changing times. And I believe that there's a bigger issue going on, and that we're just in such a end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle that a lot of the old is dying and the new is just about to be born. So I think that when you ask that question, of course, we're from the old school. I'm theater trained, so I'm always going to have, I'm always going to lean towards that. But I think in these times, it's just about adapting and about being able to use these new platforms, adapt to them, and to be able to master them, and then create a change from there.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a good
No.
question.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You all, husband and wife, seem to work well together. And just listening to everything that's been said about your background, the whole destiny thing, what was your earliest or most vivid recollection of being or feeling different, if you ever felt different?
Man, wow, that's a
These are good
that's a
questions.
really good question. That was a really good question. Wow. I mean, that's worth pondering over, But
You want me to help you with it?
Yes, please.
yeah, please, yeah. Let me sit back and listen,
Probably when you went to see Star Wars.
He did.
And after Star Wars, you and your brother
Mhm,
made that
mhm.
film in the backyard and ran out of money and ran out of film and had to wait a couple of weeks until you got more money. That was interesting. And y'all did a karate. It was a karate film y'all did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a popular thing at the time.
Mhm.
Everybody was thought they were a martial artist, thought they were Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan. But it's to kind of expand on that question. The definition of a visionary is somebody who can see beyond what most people see. So I think if you're a visionary of any type, you're going to always feel different. You're going to always, you know, uh, stand out from the normal, the common people. So I think also with the spiritual calling that we have over us, it just is to us is we've just adapted being, what's the word I'm looking for? We just adapted being different. And when I say different, I'm not talking about strange or weird, but just trying to see what can become.
Got it.
Trying to see something bigger.
Okay.
That's a very good question. Would have liked to have more time to think about it, but I just threw something out there that I hope you don't.
No, there's no right or wrong answer. And based on your whole spiritual grounding, I'm not surprised at your answer. It doesn't surprise me at all. You know?
Hey, can I throw one more out there, Adam? You know what? I'm gonna ask the question that the audience may be wondering about. And with my me being called, the financial analyst, etc. Hey, in today's world, we've heard the wonderful story about you guys being together, how long you've been together, how you've created a football team at home, how you guys work together, as a family, how you work together in business. But in today's world, most couples don't make it, not necessarily because someone's cheating, but because of the finances.
Good stuff.
The
Yeah.
finances break people up. And then when you get to a business, most businesses can't crack 5 years because of finances. How the heck do you guys do it at home and on the job, make it work and make it last and stand through the test of time? Can you, tell us about that?
Do you want to? Yeah.
Well, I was thinking you can expand upon this, but we're just really a team in all aspects of our lives. So the financial part, the children, the spiritual, we really are just kind of linked together on our ideas and how to do each part of those equations. So I think it's really for us simpler because we both are kind of on the same page with all of those things, and meeting so young, we've grown up together. So that, I think that adds a lot to the way in which we're able to run things and co-create together.
It's become a lot more popular now because we're in the information age. But, when I was younger, I came across a lot of self-help books. And they used to always talk about like whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve, or, what you put your thought to, you attract to yourself. And again, that's become cliche because we're in the information age now. But I do feel that, again, going back, I keep repeating what you said, Bill, about destiny. I believe when you have a purpose, and I believe when you're destined to do something, you have such a strong attraction to that, a strong desire that you're going to attract the people, the circumstances, the finances you need, because it's something that has to be done. So again, I don't know if there's a concrete answer, and I don't want to keep going back to say a spiritual thing, but in some ways it really is, because it's just that we've tried to stay focused on our purpose, and we notice then we'll be in the presence of people like yourselves, and somehow right a couple minutes before the Zoom call, we're like, how do we get here? And we're just here.
Well, thank you. I think you answered it just fine.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Especially coming from the financial guru here.
Yeah. All right. Now here's the time for you all to just tell people how they can learn more about the House of York. Where can they go? I'm going to let you all do any shameless plugs that you want. Let's do it.
Go ahead, Ellisa.
Right now you can go to the House of York website and learn more about the projects. There's also, we have snippets of works we've done and documentaries. So that's the best resource right now. And you can reach out to us through the website as well. So we're always interested in people and what they're wanting to see.
Yeah, that's it. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have this on our, like I said earlier, on our featured on blackmeninamerica.com and on all the major social media platforms. And we're going to make it real easy, just a mouse click away, so people can learn more about the House of York. We thank you for coming on the show. You all did really, really well. I'm telling you, this was good. I'm telling you.
We appreciate it.
Not just that, man. I think what made it easy was you guys' presence, man. You guys are great, man. This was a good conversation. I could have carried this on for another 2, 3, 4 hours,
We'll have you back.
Talking about me. I would have liked that.
Oh no, we'll have you back on. This is just the start,
Well, Gary, I like to say that for the people that are going to watch this, it is well worth your time to set aside an hour and watch the House of York documentary. I mean, you'll be truly surprised and taken at their journey from the time that they were 18 and got married up until now.
They are modeling the appropriate behavior, and thus an endorsement from the researcher on the Thought Brothers.
Yeah, good stuff right there, man.
All right, folks. That concludes this interview. Houseofyork.com. Hang on with us, but I'm Gary Johnson, and for the Thought Brothers, we are out of here.
Take care,
Good
folks.
night, everyone.